It's kind of crazy when you think about it. We spend something like 90% of our lives indoors. And if you live in a modern condo, the air you're breathing might be hiding a really nasty secret, one that could be silently wrecking your health and your property value. So, yeah, let's get into it. I mean, it's a bit of a jarring question, right? Why is your condo the perfect home for mold? You've made this place your sanctuary, but that modern, airtight design, well, it also happens to be the perfect environment for mold to thrive. So what's the deal? What is it about these high-rises that turns them into humidity hotspots? Okay, it really all boils down to how they're built. Condos are essentially these perfect little moisture traps. And that's a huge problem because, most people don't even notice it's happening until it's way too late. And by then, the damage can cost a fortune to fix. Just think about it like this. If you're in a regular house, all that steam from a hot shower or from cooking has tons of places to go, right? It can get out through the attic, crawl spaces, multiple outside walls. But a condo? It's basically a sealed box. The airflow is super restricted, which means every little bit of moisture is trapped inside with you. And so, all that steam from your morning shower, or even from just boiling a pot of pasta for dinner, it has nowhere to go. It just hangs around in the air, settles on your walls, and creeps into the corners. And this isn't just, harmless damp air. This trapped moisture is basically a welcome mat for mold. It's the fuel it needs to grow. But hey, it's not all doom and gloom. You are not helpless here. Your condo actually has a built-in weapon to fight back against this moisture trap, your ventilation system. We're talking specifically about your bathroom fan. And trust me, understanding this little device is your #1 absolute first line of defense. Yep, that humble bathroom fan. It's so easy to just think of it as, the thing that gets rid of bad smells. But in a condo, its job is way, way more important than that. The fan and its cover, they're not just separate parts. They're a whole system. A system designed to physically suck all that damaging, humid air right out of your home. Okay, so what happens when that super important system fails? The scary part is, these failures are often super subtle. They're silent, and they're happening literally right over your head. So let's unmask these hidden ventilation villains, the common culprits that cause the whole thing to break down. This really hits the nail on the head. You could have a perfectly good fan motor humming away, but if that little plastic cover on the ceiling is all gunked up with dust, or even just cracked, it's basically choking the whole system. The fan's making noise, sure, but it's not actually pulling any air out. It's useless. So really, it comes down to 3 main bad guys. First, you've got the weak fan. Maybe it's just old and can't keep up. Second, there's the clogged cover, which, as we just saw, can totally sabotage a good fan. And third, well, this one's a real shocker. A completely messed up installation from the get-go. And get this, because it's actually unbelievable. Inspectors go into some condos and find fans that were never even hooked up to the exhaust duct in the first place. No way. So the fan runs, it makes all the right noises, but it's just spinning its wheels, pushing all that wet, humid air right back into the space above your ceiling. It's doing literally nothing. And this is such a critical point to remember. A fan that runs isn't necessarily a fan that's working. Just because you hear that whirring sound doesn't mean you're safe. You could be flipping that switch every single day, thinking you're doing everything right, but meanwhile, your ventilation system isn't doing a single thing to help. All right, so if you can't trust the sound, how in the world are you supposed to know if your system is failing? Well, the good news is there are clues. It leaves behind a trail. So let's pull back the curtain and look at what the pros see, the little signs your system might be screaming for help right in plain sight. You can totally be your own detective on this. The red flags are pretty clear. You see paint starting to peel up near the ceiling? Check. Notice a musty smell that just won't go away? Check. Or how about this one? Your bathroom mirror stays all fogged up for ages after you shower. All of these are classic signs that moisture is not getting out of there like it's supposed to. Of course, the pros take it even one step further. A real expert can often tell a fan is failing just by listening to it. Is it making a high-pitched whine? That could mean the motor is really struggling. Hear a rattle? Maybe a part is loose. And here's a trick you can try right now. Hold a piece of toilet paper up to the vent. If the fan can't hold it firmly against the cover, it's not doing its job. Okay, enough with the problems and the scary warning signs, right? Let's talk solutions. Let's get to what you can actually do about all this. This is your action plan, the simple stuff you can do to protect your home and your health. It's a really simple routine, but it's super effective. First, always run the fan while you shower. And this part is absolutely key. Leave it on for a good 20 minutes after you're done. You got to get all that steam out. Second, clean the vent cover. Seriously, just take a vacuum with a brush to it every few months to get the dust off. And third, just keep your eyes open for those warning signs we talked about. Look, the bottom line is this: prevention is everything. You can avoid having to pay for crazy expensive mold removal just by stopping the problem before it even starts. And taking care of your little bathroom fan, it is without a doubt the cheapest and most effective way to protect your condo from mold. So that leaves us with one last question for you to think about. The next time you get out of the shower and you reach for that fan switch, I want you to ask yourself, is this thing actually protecting my home, my health, and my biggest investment? Or is it just making noise?